G'day and welcome to the Inforunners podcast. Today we're going to be doing a buyer's guide on the Hawk, or as we're calling it, the Bald Eagle. I'm Julian Execute.
And this is Hayes.
And I'm Dyson was here.
Yep. So,
welcome to
finally
episode
getting
40.
It right.
Yeah.
Episode 40, moving along. So, we're going to try and keep this short and sweet today, so we're just going to go straight into it and start talking about the Hawk. So, Hayes, do you want to kick us off?
Okay, so it's really nice to see them fleshing out a bounty profession because, it's one of those professions that was initial in the Kickstarter, talked about, but they never really sort of touched on it too much. See, the idea that they're giving multiple ships and a dedicated bounty ship, it's a good direction. I'd like to see that with more professions, to have more dedicated ships that are targeted.
Back in the Kickstarter, the 300i was the bounty hunter ship. That's quite funny that you mentioned that, but yeah.
Yeah. Poor
yeah.
thing.
I think the obvious thing here with the Hawk is comparing it to the Avenger. Do these ships work well together? Do they work against each other? Which one's the better one to buy? Things like that. They're the questions that I'd be asking if I was looking at this ship.
It's also very well close priced to the Avenger Warlock as well, which I think that's where they were targeting it towards. And they do sort of rival each other in ways, but they have different strengths and weaknesses as a comparison.
As far as this ship goes, I think it's actually a brilliant ship. It's hands down, it's a ship that is tailored to the bounty hunting profession. Maybe a little bit overpriced for what it is. Missed out on having a starter pack, but it does a little bit of everything it needs to do because the Avenger, as much as I love the Avenger Warlock is better at EMP. But this ship has the EMP and your stalker components on one ship, and that is important right there.
Yeah.
I think it's a good ship for bounty hunting, but I think the Avenger's probably a bit more versatile. And one of the things I reckon would be really good too is the Stalker variant of the Avenger would be good to run with, say, maybe 3 or 4 of these ships in a group doing bounty hunting, because it actually has more cells on the back where each of the Hawks only have one captive that can be held in it, so therefore the Avenger could be like the main prison ship, I guess you could call it. And I also wonder down the line, will they ever do like prison transfers or something like that they do in real life, potentially as an added benefit to these ships. So maybe you have to...
also has those missiles which the Hawk is missing. So, I'd agree. If you, instead of getting multiple Hawks teaming up together, why wouldn't you do a mix of Avenger and Hawk?
Yeah, best of both worlds.
It is the best of both worlds.
I'm not really sold on this ship personally, because I think the Titan's a bit more versatile. Sorry, the Avenger's a bit more versatile. If you're going into bounty hunting, I can see the benefits of it, but then also when you look at the cost, the Stalker's cheaper, and then for only $10 more, you can get a fully fleshed out Gladius as well. So, and you compare
twice the firepower. It's a proper military fighter, and the Hawk is very undergunned.
Yeah, and then I think Dyson's about to say, and then $10 more again, you get an entire Cutlass, and and then you start going into Cutlass Blue territory, not much further after that. But the closest one to it is the Gladius, and only $10 more, as you said, and it literally doubles the firepower. Is a bit crazy. And the only real thing that this has over a Gladius is an EMP and the ability to carry a captive, and I don't see that very strong. Personally.
I do want to say that this ship is a good ship when you consider it does a little bit of everything that it needs to do for bounty hunting. The thing is, I think it's way out of its price league. It should be back closer to your Avenger starter packages. I'd like to see it at your entry level 50, right there with your Titan.
I think if they made it $20 cheaper, it would have been perfect.
Yeah. I think it's $70 too. I kind of agree with Hayes there. It needs to be around the same price as the Stalker, and I think the Stalker is that $60. Correct me if I'm wrong. About $60.
75.
Yeah, so 75. So yeah, even $75. I think it needs to be priced at exactly the same price point as that. At $90, sorry, yeah, $90. It's just too steep. In fact, the Gladius is. Sure, it's not $80. Sorry to kind of interrupt.
$90.
Gladius
It's
is
90.
Gladius
Really?
is 90
Well,
because
at
it's only
90,
$10 difference.
at $90, you used to be able to get the Gladius for $90 when it was on the concept. So it's actually priced at the same point as the Gladius. That's crazy. I'll take Gladius any day of the week, hands down.
Well, the thing is, overall, the thing that intrigues me most about this ship is actually the future variants that were mentioned in the guide section of it, because those guides indicate that a stealth variant with a data spike, an entry-level combat-capable EMP and e-warfare ship, that actually is worth it.
I'd just like to point out, for someone burns us in the comments, Avenger Stalker is $60, not $75.
Cool. Yeah.
Yep.
No worries. I was pretty sure that's what it was because I've actually got one that I'm holding over for my brother, but that's fine. Real quick though, do you think the price might have anything to do with being the LTI token for this sale?
Oh, look, absolutely. I think you should be, if you're making a new ship and you want it with LTI and it's a bigger one, buy a war bond, save $10. It's the perfect LTI token because well, yeah, that's how it works.
What I mean by the price of it being $90 is they've put it higher so there's less ships that you can get with an LTI token.
I think that most people will want ships normally in an anniversary sale. They're waiting for the big ones that never get sold though, because most of those small ships have gone on for sale many times during the year already. So, I think it's not disappropriate as an LTI token. The majority of people are going to, be buying those bigger ships with this sale.
I just wish it had missiles on it. Like, I think that would actually shore it up right there, because if you could put like some, let's say you have two size 3 missiles, but make them special like EMP missiles or something, right there you have a very good opportunity for a ship that could compete in a way with the Gladius because it has that extra utility.
I think we might see it competing a little more because there's 2 future variants. I don't know if they're going to sell these during this sale or sell them in future, but in the actual documentation, they talk about the Dire Hawk, which is a scattergun variant, and the Shadow Hawk, which is a stealth variant. I think it's a shame they didn't offer all 3 of them up, because that would have gave it a lot more.
Makes you wonder how quickly they've got the concept together for this one, actually. So, yeah. I think the Dire Hawk, if I was going to look at the variants, I'd probably give the Dire Hawk a mix. It seems to be a little bit like the Saber Comet upgrade.
I hated that one.
Where it's kind of a skin and a different weapon.
Not much.
It doesn't really
add into that. Like
it's not really. It doesn't really offer a variant. It's not. It's just a spin. Where
if I read that right, though, it's supposed to have an extra mount.
I might have to go back and reread that. I didn't see that. But the Shadow Hawk actually has less guns, but you get stealth components. So, but yeah, I definitely want to check into that Dire Hawk.
I'll go on, let you do that while I talk one more thing about
Go for it.
Hawk. The Hawk is a very sort of dystopian, it's a very stylistic sort of a ship. I can see people might really like it. I don't think it's going to fly different from the Avenger. It's going to be about the same speed, probably just as maneuverable. But that dystopian Blade Runner-esque sort of design on it. If you do like a ship, most people buy it as much for aesthetics as the role that they choose to do the ship in. So I can see people buying this for what it is. And yeah.
Well, along those lines,
can I just read this part here on the Dire Hawk? It says the Dire Hawk project, which is based on a popular third-party conversation, aims to add 2 additional scattergun mounts and supporting battery. So I think you might be right. It's either 2 extra it's two guns or 2 extra. It does specifically use the word mounts. So does that mean they're exclusively locked to scatterguns though, or are they actually mounts that you could change to more weapons and an additional battery? In that case, though, that kind of actually makes the ship kind of interesting because it would take the gun total from 6 to 8. Which
maybe as a trade-off, it takes off the EMP or something. Who knows?
Then again, even then, I would almost make that depending on what variant you want. You see.
Well, the thing is, this ship, I think the biggest detractor is actually none of the things we've really mentioned. Besides, it's the fact that they went for aesthetics and it being a so general purpose that it's not actually going to succeed. They said, oh, it's not going to be the fastest, it's not going to be that, but it's not going to have any armor. So I'm like, well, then it needs a mid-level worth of armor to be able to actually compete at that point in time if you're trying to create an average ship.
I believe they aim this too close to the starter, both in the price and sort of its versatility and what it can do, not to mention the firepower, because at the end of the day, it doesn't come close to something like, let's say, a Cutlass. Or no, I know the Cutlass Blue is a bit much, but you could use a Cutlass Black as a bounty ship just as well. But the thing is,
even better.
If you wanted something of this level, you probably want the $70 or $60 range, and then they could have been more honest with what it's actually sort of providing. I think $70 is fair.
I think that kind of hits the nail on the head, so to speak. It's a starter ship at a more mid-range price, and that's probably why I'd say, unless you're buying it for an LTA token, I'd be personally giving it a miss. You can take the variants into account and have a look at the EMP variant, which is the standard variant, and compare it against the Warlock. And when you look at that, you kind of go, I'd still probably potentially take the Warlock.
Size 1 versus size 4, that EMP.
Yep.
That's a big difference.
Yep, and then if we now take the Hawk version into account and say you're losing the EMP and getting 2 extra guns, I'd probably still take the Avenger because it's also got the missiles. But that's just me. And also, if you look at that would be the Stalker variant. So the Stalker variant also can carry more actual people that you capture. So yeah.
This might be one of those ships that, you buy later in game, because it's probably overpriced as a newer concept ship compared to the older concept ships. I think it's in a nice place once we go to live, but is it worth that $90? That's a question you have to answer.
Yeah. I would also say I think it's a ship you'll see by next year, though, with them doing the Anvil Carrack and stuff like that. I think it's a ship you'll see sooner rather than later, and that might be why it's already priced higher as well. I think the last thing there's one little last thing on the show notes, and it's the missed opportunity for selling this as a game package, which I actually think at $90, if it was a game package, bargain.
Yeah, even at 120 with game package, it would have been reasonably good. And even if you weren't interested in the Hawk, game packages with LTI are an absolute premium. It's a market in itself. It wouldn't matter what ship it was. They would have made more sales of that game package with a no-name ship than sales what they're going to get on the Hawk, because the community is starved for LTI game packages. They are ravenous for this, and I think it's a missed opportunity, not only in sales completely.
It's a $20 discount already on it, and that right there makes it back into the price range that it needs to be in. So
exactly,
just look at it that way.
It's a missed opportunity from their marketing team, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, think a little
all right,
harder.
well, that's been the buyer's guide for the Hawk, and that's been our opinions on it. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll be doing another one shortly on the Hammerhead. Look for that coming very soon. All right, I've been Julian Execute.
This is Hayes.
Last time.
We'll
Have a
catch
good
you
day.
around.